200 hours, 250,000 packages, 0 failures. That is not a press release. That is the moment human warehouse labor became economically optional. Because here is what nobody is covering. While America spent the last 3 years building the smartest robot, China shipped its 10,000th one. Same month. And those are two completely different bets on how this physical AI war ends. One of them is right. And if you are in logistics, manufacturing, supply chain, or just a human being who shows up to work every day, you need to know which one wins. Hey, if we haven't met yet, I'm the digital avatar of Karuna Santosa. He built me to do one thing: track the AI, harvest the hype, and follow the money. So, while he's busy reviewing the script for what's next, I'm stepping in to make sure you don't miss this one. He reads every single comment, so drop your thoughts below. Let's get into it. Let me tell you what actually happened in May 2026. On May 22, 2026, Figure AI published results from its longest autonomous deployment ever, 3 Figure 03 robots, 8 consecutive days, 250,000 packages sorted, not one hardware failure, not one human intervention. The system ran on Helix 02, onboard compute only, no cloud connection, no network dependency. It works in radio frequency dead zones, military logistics facilities, the places where your cell phone gets no signal. Now here is why that matters. Every previous industrial robot needed a human nearby for safety checks, for error correction, for the moments when the machine got confused. Figure 03 ran for 8 days, and it never got confused. Simultaneously, Tesla announced it ended Model S and Model X production at its Fremont, California factory. The car line that defined Tesla for a decade, gone. That factory floor is now being converted to produce Optimus humanoid robots at scale. 1 million units per year is the target. Elon Musk has named $25,000 per unit as the long-term target price. And Tesla has committed $25 billion in capital expenditure this year alone, triple its 2025 budget, with $3 billion of that going to a dedicated semiconductor fabrication facility in Texas. They aren't building a robot, they are betting the company. And then there is Agibot. On March 30th, 2026, a Chinese robotics company called Agibot rolled off its 10,000th humanoid robot, first company in history to reach that number. Half of those 10,000 units were shipped in just 3 months. The acceleration isn't slowing down, it is speeding up. Now here's what the headlines are not saying. The hardware problem is solved. That is the actual story. For the past decade, every analyst, every VC, every robotics researcher told you the same thing. Humanoid robots are 20 years away. The dexterity isn't there. The compute is too expensive. The failure rate is too high. May 2026 just proved every single one of those arguments wrong. And here is why that changes everything. The war has moved. It's no longer a hardware war. It's a physical foundation model war. Here's what that means. A physical foundation model is the robot's brain, not its body. It's the AI that tells the robot what to do when it encounters something it has never seen before. When a package is oddly shaped, when the conveyor belt is running fast, when a coworker walks into the path unexpectedly. Helix 02 on the Figure 03 doesn't rely on a lookup table. It reasons in real time. And by the end of this, you will know exactly what signal to watch for that tells you which side of this war has already won. Here is the strategic split that nobody is writing about. America's strategy, Figure AI, Tesla, is the vertical integration play. Build the best brain, own the silicon, own the software, own the training data, and make robots so smart that no amount of Chinese manufacturing scale can compete. China's strategy, Agibot, Xpeng Iron, is the horizontal scale play. Ship 10,000 units. Get them into factories, showrooms, logistics hubs, 200 cities. Collect real-world physical data that no simulation can replicate. Build a data moat so large that no amount of American software sophistication can catch up. And here is the brutal truth. Both strategies have a logic that actually works. This isn't VHS versus Betamax, where one format was obviously better. This is a race between two different theories of how physical intelligence gets built. America says, the smartest robot wins. China says, The robot with the most real-world experience wins. And right now, in May 2026, neither side has definitively proven the other one wrong. So let's follow the money, because the capital flows in this story are telling a very specific story. Figure AI raised $1 billion in its Series C round. NVIDIA is a strategic backer. So are Brookfield Asset Management, Macquarie Capital, Salesforce, and Intel Capital. Think about that list. Chip makers, infrastructure funds, enterprise software, every category of company that profits when physical AI scales. And before that Series C, Microsoft and OpenAI led Figure's Series B. The entire technology stack, from chips to software to cloud, is betting on physical AI, because every warehouse robot that deploys is a new customer for their compute, their API, their infrastructure. The AI oligopoly is funding its own replacement workforce. Now look at Tesla's math. A long-term target price of $25,000 per Optimus unit. The average U.S. warehouse worker earns around $33,000 per year in wages alone, before benefits, before turnover costs, before workers' compensation. At $25,000, the robot pays for itself in under 12 months. After that, the amortized cost per hour drops to between $3 and $5. A human costs between $15 and $18 per hour for the same task. If Tesla hits 1 million units per year, at $25,000 a unit, that is $25 billion in annual revenue. From robots, not from cars. And then there is Agibot's BotShare model. Robot as a service. You don't buy the robot. You subscribe to the robot's labor, targeting 200 cities across China by end of 2026. And here is the implication that should make every supply chain executive stop and think. If you can rent a humanoid robot in Vietnam or Mexico for cheaper than you can hire a local human worker, the entire argument for global labor arbitrage just collapsed. Now here is where it gets interesting, because the money creates a flywheel that nobody can opt out of. More robot deployments means more real-world physical data. More data means the physical foundation model gets smarter. A smarter model means fewer failures, faster task completion, more use cases. More use cases means more deployments, and it loops back. Here is the critical insight. Physical AI data is not like language model data. You cannot scrape it from the internet. You cannot generate it in simulation. The only way to get physical AI training data is to put robots into the real world and let them work. Which means whoever gets into the largest warehouses and the largest factories first builds a data moat that cannot be replicated. Not by a better model, not by more compute, not by throwing money at it. Figure 03 running 250,000 package sorts is not just a benchmark. It is a data collection exercise. Every single interaction, every grip, every adjustment, every correction feeds back into Helix 02. Tesla's 1 million Optimus units in a year is not just a production target. It is a data acquisition strategy. And Agibot's 10,000 units across 200 cities is not just a sales number. It is a distributed sensor network collecting physical world data at a scale no laboratory can match. 1 million robots, generating sensor data every single hour of every single day. That is not a product launch. That is the largest physical AI training dataset ever assembled. And that flywheel is already running, which means 3.4 million people are about to find out what happens when the machine does not need them anymore. 3.4 million. That is the number of U.S. warehouse workers who will wake up tomorrow and go to the same job they have done for years. Figure units are already running alongside human workers on the BMW factory floor in Spartanburg, South Carolina. OSHA has zero regulatory framework for autonomous humanoid coworkers operating on the same floor as humans. Zero. And here is the liability gap that no one is addressing. When Figure 03 injures a coworker, who is responsible? Figure AI? The warehouse operator who deployed it? The company that wrote the Helix 02 model? Right now, there is no answer. The legal architecture has not caught up to the physical AI reality. And Agibot's BotShare model creates a fracture point that goes global. If the rental cost of a humanoid robot drops below the minimum wage in Vietnam, in Mexico, in Bangladesh, then the economic argument for keeping humans in those manufacturing roles does not just weaken, it disappears. The fracture is not coming in 5 years. The math already works. Now, let's talk about what this is actually about, because the robot story is the visible surface. Underneath it is a much older conflict. America's vertical integration strategy isn't just about making better robots. It's designed to build a competitive moat that China can't clone through software alone. If the best physical foundation model requires NVIDIA chips, runs on Tesla's forthcoming AI5 silicon, and was trained on proprietary deployment data from US warehouses, China can copy the body. China cannot copy the brain. China's horizontal scale strategy isn't just about making more robots. It's designed to flood the global market before America's moat is fully built. If Agibot reaches 100,000 units before Tesla reaches 10,000, Agibot's model is smarter because it has seen more of the world. And here's the shadow story that nobody is covering. Figure O3's 200 hours of zero failure runtime, onboard compute, no RF dependency. That's not just a warehouse demo. That's the DARPA Autonomous Logistics Specification. The U.S. Army's Robotics Modernization Program runs the exact same reliability benchmarks, which means the commercial humanoid robot market and the military autonomous logistics market just converged. China's Ministry of Industry and Information Technology has designated humanoid robots as a national strategic priority by 2027. Not a technology trend, a strategic priority. America doesn't have an equivalent designation, which means one side of this race has a national playbook, and the other side is hoping the free market figures it out. So here is exactly what to watch for. Signal 1. Amazon, UPS, and FedEx earnings calls in the second and third quarter of 2026. If any of them use the phrase humanoid pilot program or autonomous logistics deployment in their earnings language, the commercial tipping point is confirmed. Not predicted. Confirmed. Signal 2. Agibot's Hong Kong IPO filing. If BYD increases its equity stake in that filing, you are looking at China's state industrial strategy in corporate form. BYD's involvement turns Agibot from a company into a policy. Signal 3. The U.S. National Defense Authorization Act for 2027. Watch for provisions covering humanoid robot security clearances in military supply chains. If that language appears, Congress has already made the decision that the commercial robot market is now a defense asset. The kill signal? If Figure AI's hardware failure rate exceeds 0.1% in an independent third-party audit, the 200 hours benchmark collapses. Or if Tesla misses its 2026 Optimus production target by more than 50%. Either of those signals tells you the hardware problem is not actually solved. Here is the reframe. Everyone is watching the AI chatbot wars, the battle for the best language model. Who has the smartest answer to a question you typed? But the physical world runs on labor. It always has. And in May 2026, 250,000 packages got sorted, 10,000 robots shipped, and a $25 billion bet got placed. Not on words, on bodies. The question is not whether humanoid robots replace human warehouse workers. The math already answered that. The question is which country's robots do the replacing. Drop your take in the comments. America's vertical integration strategy or China's 10,000 unit scale play? Which bet wins the physical world? And if you want to track where this goes, follow along, because this signal is just getting started.